All right, it seems I am live. So, hello everyone, this is Carlos again with Evolve. And today we have a surprise guest, my friend Maurício Salvador, who's Brazilian, based in Barcelona, but also sometimes he's in Brazil. Maurício has an incredible story. He is an entrepreneur and also the president of the Brazilian Association of E-commerce. And today we'll be talking about. He's going to be giving us an outlook on the scenario of the Brazilian e-com today, the opportunities, who are the main players. We're going to speak about categories, some of the purchase behavior made by Brazilians, and also discuss a little bit how companies can enter the Brazilian market. But before we delve into those topics, welcome, Mauricio. Thank you very much for your time. Perhaps you can introduce yourself. I always ask my guests to talk about, tell their big picture, and then tell us a bit about the Brazilian Association of Ecom as well.
Okay, thank you, Carlos, for the invitation. Hi, everyone. Nice to talk to you about the Brazilian commerce. My passion. So I love commerce. I like to buy. I like to sell. So I'm using e-commerce for into my life. So and now I've been the president of the Brazilian commerce for 8 years, and so many things changed since then. So there was no, so that was before pandemic, and now the e-commerce are completely different. So now we are talking about artificial intelligence. So and before the pandemic we were talking about marketplaces, and so everything changed. And that's what I like in this market, because it's so dynamic. So there are news every day. So you must be uh, updated to surf this wave. So about the Brazilian E-commerce Association, we are the most representative e-commerce association in Latin America. We have over 9,000 members, and the association is focused on three pillars. The first pillar is regarding public politics. So we help the government to create new laws and to discuss some intervention on the economy. So in this part of the economy, the association is very so we are very participating. And the second pillar is education. So the association, we promote many events, courses, and training programs, and visit tours to distribution centers. So we are helping who is starting to sell online or who is already selling online to upgrade their revenues. And the third is regarding to promote networking between the market. So we we help entrepreneurs to meet investors, and we help online stores to meet service providers. And this help this kind of network promoting helps the market to evolve. So people knowing people and making business, that's the main reason of the association.
That's
Uh,
very nice. Sorry, go ahead.
thank you, thank you.
Go ahead.
No, that's all. We also have around 80 directors in the association, divided in verticals or on committees.
Mhm.
So the legal, the legal committee, the logistic, the online marketing, the marketplace, the digital crimes. So we have many directors working and studying in deep, so each of these subjects.
Perfect. Thank you for the introduction, Mauricio. So perhaps we can start off our conversation today. Uh, having an outlook on what's going on in the digital commerce scenario in Brazil. And I like always talking about digital commerce. Evolve is a social media agency that works with e-com vendors. Um, but I always talk about digital commerce because everything is about commerce. It's not e-commerce anymore, right? So it's everything. There's a transaction in everything in anything in our life. So it's all about commerce at the end of the day. So perhaps you can tell us what's going on in the market. I think it would be interesting if you could share today with our audience some of the data, what's going on, growth, yeah, what's going on in Brazil?
Sure. So the e-commerce keeps growing in Brazil, even after Brazil faces economic crisis. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about economic cycles. So
Mm-hmm.
we were surfing good moments. Then we went to a crisis, and soon we will be surfing good times again. So that's economy. But the e-commerce never stopped growing. Since I began working in commerce like around 1995, so I'm, like 25 years ago, the e-commerce is growing in two digits. So
Mm-hmm.
10%, 20%, 15%, 18%,
Mm-hmm.
14%. So, uh, but of course, during the pandemic, the growth was different. We grew around 30%. So it was
Mm-hmm.
very, very rocket like.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, so the interest rates started. The government started increasing the interest rates,
Mm-hmm.
and it impacted the retailers, because in Brazil it's very important to offer credit to the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So people stopped buying things with average spending high.
Mm-hmm.
And but even after that, the e-commerce grew 6%. So last
Okay.
year, that was the rate of the e-commerce in Brazil, 6%. So it represents around 170 uh, billion Brazilian reais.
Mm-hmm.
That's is something around 60, no, for 30 billion euros.
All
So
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
And of course, because of the exchange rate in Brazilian reais, in euros and American dollars, so it floats.
Mm-hmm.
But it still is a very interesting market, because
Mm-hmm.
Brazil has around 110 million e-shoppers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people buying. Although the Brazilian population in total is 210 million Brazilians, so there's
Mm-hmm.
a gap of 100 million Brazilians that still don't buy online. So it's an
Interesting.
it's an opportunity to sell to those people. Of course, some of these people even don't have internet connections,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them are just too young to have a credit card, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or they are elders that they don't trust yet the e-commerce, but they are starting to buy online. So there are many opportunities regarding this gap of 100 million people that didn't buy online yet in Brazil.
That's yeah. Go ahead. You have more data, probably. I believe.
Yeah, yes, yes. And regarding online stores in Brazil. We have
Hmm.
550,000 online stores. So half a million of online stores in Brazil. So most of them use Magento, Shopify, WooCommerce, and there are uh, Brazilian e-commerce platforms also, but most of them are using this. And I'm not counting the stores that sells just on marketplace. This is online stores that they have their own URL, their own e-commerce platform. Because if you we consider the companies that sells in marketplace, so the number will be almost 2 million online sellers in Brazil.
Oh, right. So you have about 500,000, 500,000, correct? Uh,
550,000, yes.
550,000 that have their own stores, and on top of that, like if we consider the whole market, it would be about 2 million sellers selling online. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Interesting. Really, really interesting. And do you have any data in regards to the let's say the cohort, the group that grows the most? So, for example, you said that we have about 110 million e-shoppers, right? Digital shoppers. And then there's a group that is still very young to own a credit card, to be in the possession of a credit card. But then if we, and I'm not sure if you have that now, Mauricio, but it would be interesting to have a look at the generations perhaps, so that are growing the most and spending the most, and what exactly are they spending on? If you have that, I think that would be super interesting to discuss as well.
Yes. Uh, so regarding the the, the growth, so if you uh, pick up uh, the uh, the parts of the pyramid that, for example, between 18 and 22 years, so they are growing faster than the other age. And also at the other point, the age between 60 and 65. So it's interesting because uh, the younger they are just uh, coming into the part of the population that now has a credit card, first job. So they are entering the economic cycle. So now they can spend their own money. And on the other hand, from 60 to 65 are people that they are beginning to trust the e-commerce. So they uh, they have they, they they had the experience during the pandemic to buy groceries, for example, for the first time because they couldn't go to the supermarket or to the pharmacy, so they start to buying of also medication. So these 2 points on the demographics are growing faster than the other ones in percentage.
Perfect. And I think that's super interesting, especially looking at the last group, with the, let's say, the elders or more senior people buying more and trusting more, like the e-commerce and overall, because they spend more as well, right, compared to the first group. So that's quite interesting. And in regards to like channels, we see TikTok growing quite a bit. We know that WhatsApp now they're about to have like a payment solution within WhatsApp, and WhatsApp in Brazil is massive. When I talk to people in Europe, especially in the Nordics, they don't have um, they don't use WhatsApp as much as we use. In Brazil, we have several groups, and it's so interesting. So perhaps can you talk a little bit about the behavior, Mauricio, that you see and that you research. I think that would be super interesting, in terms of social media, in terms of how people buy in Brazil. What do you have there?
Yes, sure. So Brazilians love social media. On average, we spend 4 hours per day on social media. I think I saw a McKinsey or one of these big four consulting group research a couple of months ago that Brazil is number one in on spending time on social media, and so this is now the number one motivator to online buys in Brazil. So Instagram, WhatsApp, uh, YouTube, TikTok's growing fast, and but also Google is it's a very powerful tool. But Google became so expensive to e-commerce that many of the retailers they started looking for alternatives to instead of paying per clicks in Google search. And now Instagram is became also so expensive the
That's
cost per
right.
click.
That's
So
right.
there's
Uh,
not there's nothing cheap anymore. So and the idea in Brazil, so the big retailers they are focusing on the retail media, so they are
hmm
becoming their own media channel. Some of them are
hmm
buying media channel, newspapers, blogs, and
hmm
websites with high audience. But uh, email marketing is still a powerful tool.
hmm
So many online stores they still using the email marketing as a marketing campaign, and also and as I said, WhatsApp. So WhatsApp message. So they
hmm
are using WhatsApp from not only from a point of the customer attention, but
hmm
also to help the experience of the customer during the buying process. So now that WhatsApp launched the WhatsApp payment, so you can
hmm
pay and you can send payments and receive payments through WhatsApp. I think this will be this year. This will be a very impacting tool for the online stores.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's the whole trend about, in Brazil, it's so interesting our behavior. And when I see, like, there are tools that people sell, but in Brazil, WhatsApp, especially during the pandemics as well, saved so many lives and families, right? Because people, we have the let's say the habit of going into WhatsApp, creating groups, helping each other out. And I think so many small, uh, I wouldn't even say companies, but or entrepreneurs, or like people who are trying to 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 survive really and sell the everyday stuff. They manage somehow to pay their bills because of WhatsApp, right? And I think in terms of digital commerce, what we see today, and the whole conversational commerce trend that we hear about. I mean, we've been doing this in Brazil for many years, and I think it's quite interesting what's going to happen now with a payment solution that they're going to offer. It's because it's just going to take the friction out of the buying process, right?
Yes, yes. This is a very powerful tool for the online stores. Of course, in Brazil, everything related to online payments must be very careful with frauds.
hmm
So this is
Correct.
a big problem in e-commerce in Brazil, frauds.
hmm
And but I'm sure that WhatsApp will know how to deal with this.
Super interesting, Mauricio. If we move on to our next bigger topic, which are opportunities, then what can you perhaps share with us that's going on in terms of opportunities in the market? Who are the main players? The categories that are growing the most? Can you yeah, share some of the research that you guys have there?
Yes, sure. So there are so many opportunities in Brazil because, as I said, there are 110 million Brazilians buying online, and another
Hmm.
100 million that still don't buy. But uh, it's a complex market because Brazilians, they are very price sensitive. So
Mm.
uh, and at the same time, uh, you have a part of the Brazilians that they are they have high income, so they
Hmm.
can afford for expensive products. So it represents around 10 or 5 to 10% of the population.
Hmm.
So they are 100% connected, they are 100% buying online. So you can reach these people, but you can also reach the other part of the population that they, if you have low price and good quality products. So this is why marketplace like AliExpress and Shein, they are growing, and Shopee, they are growing so fast in Brazil, and good quality products. And regarding the categories, number one in Brazil, it's now in GMV. So not about, I'm talking about GMV, not about in number of purchase. So the number one is uh, appliance.
Hmm.
So this is the average spending on appliance in Brazil, e-commerce Brazil in Brazil, is around $200.
Okay.
Number two, it's electronics. So everything, TV, or so everything related with electronics. And number three is fashion and apparel. So
Hmm.
this is a, and if you is it's the number three in GMV. But if we look in number of purchase, this is number one. So the
All
average
right.
spending in apparel in Brazil, it's around $50.
Hmm.
And of course, we have luxury brands selling online in Brazil, but the average spend, it's low. It's around
Hmm.
$50. And one good thing is that in Brazil, you don't have to pay tax for foreign buyers, for buyers that uh, 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 Brazilians that buy online in foreign web stores. They don't pay taxes if the product costs less than $50. So
Hmm.
this is an opportunity. And so regarding the categories, regarding the big players, number one in Brazil is Mercado Livre.
Yeah.
uh, this is the number one marketplace. It's 100% 3P, so it doesn't have, uh, so it doesn't sell its products, only third part products.
Hmm.
And number two is Magazine Luiza. It's a
Okay.
big, huge marketplace also. So and number three, it's Americanas. It's B2W. It's a group with different
Hmm.
brands like Americanas and Submarino, Shoptime. So it's a big group with different brands. They are facing a difficult time now. They are in crisis. So
Hmm.
uh, let's see. I'm not putting here the big foreign players like Alibaba or
Hmm.
AliExpress or eBay, just Brazilian players, right?
Perfect.
Uh, and so we you have Netshoes, that it's sport goodies. You have beauty and fashion. So this is also a category that's growing very fast in Brazil. So cosmetics, uh, health. So we are just discussing now in Brazil the if marketplace can sell medication. So this is we are participating in a debate in the government regarding the if it will be possible or not to sell medication on marketplace. And I think that's it. Also, groceries, it is a category that grew very fast, started growing very fast, since the pandemic, and it still goes on. So, and of course, digital goods. So Brazilians, they are buying music, streaming, and courses, online courses, and so this kind of digital goods.
Sweet. Mauricio, what do you see any trend in regards to? So, for example, and this is more maybe like niched or a sub niched even segment, but at least in Europe or Scandinavia, I'm seeing that this is a niche that is growing quite a bit of like non-alcoholic stuff, non-alcoholic drinks and beverages, or you talked about, yeah, the medication, but let's like the cannabis all trend around those more like naturals, the CBD oil and oils and that kind of stuff. What do you see that do you guys do you guys have anything in that regard that you're seeing in terms of trends and or I don't know.
Not, I didn't see anything that it's it's being discussed,
Mm-hmm.
or it's being representative in terms of growth. But
Mm-hmm.
I know that this is those are some are things that are uh, growing in other countries, like in United
Mm-hmm.
States, in Europe, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
But in Brazil, it's still not regarding the cannabis. So
Uh-huh.
there are some discussion in Brazil regarding the legal part of
Uh-huh.
this. So
Yeah.
there are some people that they are confused if it's
Uh,
legal, it's not legal. And so many marketplace in many marketplaces, it's still prohibited to sell
mm-hmm.
this kind of products. But I think it's a tipping point. So
Mm-hmm.
we are reaching this tipping point. So after that, the there's a possible to start growing.
Perfect. When we look at purchase behavior, I think so. In Brazil, we have some payment modalities that in Europe people are not very familiar with, and I mean they're becoming more familiar with the whole trend of buy now, pay later. But this is something that we've been doing in Brazil for years and years, right? Paying in installments. So credit. Now we have the whole Pix instant payment um, modality that is quite big in Brazil. Can you talk a little, share a bit some of the information and data that you have there in terms of buying behavior, how people buy, how people purchase online, what are the typical modalities, perhaps how many installments you know people use, because I think for a seller abroad that is very relevant knowledge that they should expect when coming to Brazil.
Sure. So installments are very important. So if you're going to sell to Brazilians, and depending of the average spending, of course,
Hmm.
but in Brazil, on average, 70% of the payments on online store are of the purchase are paid on installments. So, but after the increase of the interesting rates, this is expensive for
Hmm.
the for both sides, for the customer and for the online store. So
Hmm.
many online stores started offering discount if the customer pay in one just one time.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, there are two payment methods very popular in Brazil. One, it's boleto. Boleto
Mm-hmm.
is it's very popular because people don't need to have a bank account to pay in boleto, and there are still millions of Brazilians that they don't have bank accounts. So this is the only choice to buy online to pay in boleto.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is Pix. So Pix it's growing very fast, and it is more representative than boleto. Since last year, it became more representative than boleto. And Pix, it's like a instant money transfer. So it's like a QR code. It
Mm-hmm.
is a QR code. So on the checkout, you read a QR code and go to your bank your bank app, insert your password, and that's all. So it takes like 1 minute and
Yeah.
to make the payment, and it's very good for the online stores because they receive the money instantly, and
Mm-hmm.
for the customer they prefer it also because it's less complicated than boleto, because boleto there's a barcode, so you have to type a lot of numbers to pay it, and so it's a kind of complicated. And credit card, of course, it's still strong. So when we take boleto and Pix, it represents around 20% of the payments, and 80% of the payments are made on credit card. So
Mm-hmm.
you must accept credit card, and you can accept, of course, if you are going to sell in Brazil, you can use, for example, PayPal is an
Sure.
international payment method that's very popular in Brazilian online store also.
Super interesting. Sorry, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, no,
Like,
that's it,
no,
yes.
perfect. And I think that that is actually a very very good way to talk about how to enter Brazil, right? Because when entering Brazil, like we look at the these massive numbers, 110 million shoppers, 210 population, but we always say we Brazilians say that Brazil is not a country for amateurs, so it can be a real challenge in terms of logistics, in terms of understanding taxation, right? In terms of understanding the payments as well. So, what are the barriers of, let's say, entry that you see and that companies they should be aware of when entering Brazil? What is important for a seller who wants to enter Brazil? What they need to be aware beforehand?
Sure. So I think the first move to a company that wants to sell in Brazil is to have all the information in Brazilian Portuguese. This is very
Hmm.
important, and I see
Perfect.
many companies that want from Europe, for example, that it's entering Brazil using Portuguese from Portugal because there's
Hmm.
the difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes many people just didn't know that
Hmm.
Portuguese is different in Brazil and is different of the Portuguese in Portugal. So
Yeah.
you must have your all the information, product description, marketing
Hmm.
campaigns, and checkout, everything in Brazilian Portuguese, because it brings trust to the
Hmm.
to the customers. And the second thing is regarding payments, because when you choose a payment method, if you are not selling through a marketplace, if you will sell through your own online stores, so take a payment method like PayPal regarding the worry with frauds. So frauds in Brazil, it's a huge problem, and you must be protected of this. So many payment methods like PayPal, they offer this kind of analysis in each purchase. They charge for it, but
Hmm.
it's important to have it. And the other thing is logistics. So Brazil is a very huge country with different regions. So the the, the culture is different on each region. So logistic is also complicated. If you are selling to uh, the country, so you must choose a very a very you must have a very good partnership with the carrier. So and I'd say it's like my 5 cents to is start selling to some regions first. So
Hmm.
not so all the Brazil, because some regions the market are mature, so the logistics are cheaper, so you have less problems regarding the time to delivery and this kind of and the price of the of the delivery, this kind of thing. So and that's it. Regarding these 3 points, with these 3 points, you are 80% covered.
I agree. I think logistics is very, very important. Understanding that this is a continental country, or right, uh, um, it's a continent, really. So it's quite complex. Also, like to look at the regions. So, for example, São Paulo, as you didn't say São Paulo, but the south of Brazil, or south and southeast, are definitely more developed. Of course, more competition, but definitely regions where there's high spending. But there are other also interesting regions in Brazil, not necessarily as, let's say, as big as this region in terms of population and density, but with an interesting, let's say, uh, capacity to spend money. So, for example, the Brasilia or Goiás, where you have agro, right? I think in those regions, perhaps there's a lot of spending capacity there. How about taxes, Mauricio? What do you say of taxes as well? Because that is a topic that uh, many companies tend to overlook, and it can be complex, right?
Yes, this is a very complex subject in Brazil, taxes. So doesn't matter if you are Brazilian or not, but if you sell in Brazil, you have to pay a very complex system of
Hmm.
taxes, and if it's service or if it's product or so there are many ways to pay tax in Brazil, and most of them are the wrong ways. So it's very this is this is a huge problem of the country.
Hmm.
Many governments tried to simplify the process, but it's still complicated. Uh, for the for a foreign company selling in Brazil, it pays uh, depending of if it's a service, it pays ESS, that
Hmm.
is the tax on services. Uh,
Hmm.
if it's selling a product, it pays the ICMS and
Hmm.
also the tax of the importing tax.
Hmm.
And sometimes depending of the category, if it's medication or if it's uh, uh, clothes or toys, depending of the product, you pay a different tax for the category. So it's complicated. It's an engineer, so you need an engineer
Hmm.
to understand how to do that. But that's why it's important in the beginning. That's why it's important to have someone to help you how to do that. So
Definitely.
if you are selling like products up to $50, so there's no big worries. But if you are selling products over $50, so you start to make it
Mhm.
complex.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I think this is very interesting, Mauricio. Perhaps we're on to like almost 40 minutes now. Maybe if you have any final remarks, or if you want to talk about some uh, emerging trends that you're seeing, that'd be great.
Okay. No, that's it. I'd like to invite you to access the ABCOMM website. It's abcom.org. So we have many
Perfect.
information to companies there. We have partnership with international companies, international e-commerce associations, also of many different countries. And that's it. Thanks again, Carlos, to have this talk, and good to see you again.
Likewise, Mauricio. And a final question: if people want to find you and connect with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, you can email me. My email
Mhm.
is Mauricio, just like my name, at
Perfect.
abcom with two m's .org. That's my email.
Sweet.
So yes,
That's perfect. All right, then. So this was Maurício Salvador, the president of the Brazilian E-commerce Association. Maurício, it was a pleasure to have you with us today. And thank you. Thank you for now.
thank you, Carlos. Bye bye.
Bye.